cold was white, utterly, blindingly white. It stretched out before me, an endless canvas of snow and ice blurring the line between earth and sky. The sheer scale of it was overwhelming, a stark reminder of nature's indifference. I felt a shiver crawl down my spine, a primal fear of being swallowed whole by this frozen immensity. Snow, sky, trees, everything vanished. The landscape dissolved into a monochromatic haze, a world without definition or form. It was as if the very essence of color had been leached away, leaving behind only shades of white, a ghostly realm where reality itself seemed to fray at the edges. The trees, once distinct silhouettes, now faded into the background, their branches heavy with snow, their forms barely discernible against the white abyss, into the same endless cold. A cold that seeped into your bones, a cold that stole your breath, a cold that promised oblivion. It was a vast, unforgiving expanse stretching out to the horizon and beyond, a landscape sculpted by ice and wind, a testament to the raw power of nature. There was no escape, no refuge, only the relentless, all-encompassing cold. My snowmobile was dead, a mechanical beast rendered lifeless by the brutal Siberian winter, a silent, useless shape behind me, a monument to my misjudgment, a stark reminder of my vulnerability. It sat there, half buried in the snow, a cold metallic carcass, a symbol of my dwindling hope. I turned my back on it, knowing that I couldn't afford to dwell on my misfortune. Every second counted. The silence pressed on my ears, an oppressive, all-encompassing silence, broken only by the whisper of the wind and the frantic beating of my own heart. It was a silence that amplified the feeling of isolation, a silence that spoke of the vastness and emptiness of the Siberian wilderness. I was alone in Siberia, utterly, irrevocably alone. A tiny speck of humanity swallowed by an immense, indifferent landscape. The cold bit my face and fingers, a relentless, gnawing cold that seemed to penetrate every layer of clothing, turning my breath to mist that vanished instantly. Each exhale a fleeting reminder of life, quickly swallowed by the frozen air. I looked around, nothing but snow and trees, a seemingly endless expanse of white and gray. Stretching forever, an infinite, unbroken horizon, a landscape that offered no landmarks, no hope of rescue. My name is Alex. I'm not a hero, just a man who wanted to see the wild. A man who craved adventure, who sought to test his limits against the raw power of nature. I wanted to witness the untamed beauty of Siberia, to experience its vastness and solitude. Now, the wild was seeing me, and it wasn't impressed. It was indifferent, uncaring, a force of nature that would just as soon crush me as ignore me. My coat and boots were good, the best I could afford, designed to withstand the harshest conditions. But the cold was stronger. It crept through everything. It found every weakness, every seam, every gap in my defenses. It was a relentless, insidious enemy, slowly but surely draining my strength and will. I had to move. If I stopped, I'd freeze, a quiet way to die. A surrender to the cold, a fading into the white oblivion. The thought spurred me on, a chilling reminder of the stakes. I started walking, not knowing where I was going, just putting one foot in front of the other, driven by instinct and a desperate hope. Step by step, through deep snow. Each step an effort, each movement a victory against the encroaching cold. I thought of my family, my warm house, dreams compared to this reality, the laughter of my children, the warmth of the fireplace, the comfort of my bed, memories that seemed a lifetime away. The cold, the snow, the fear in my stomach, these were real. The biting wind, the aching muscles, the gnawing hunger. These were the only truths that mattered now. I had a small backpack, a knife, a lighter, a little food. Not enough. Barely enough to keep me going for a day, let alone the days it would take to find my way back to civilization. I needed shelter. I needed a way out. A cave, a cabin, anything to escape the relentless cold and the approaching darkness. But everywhere was the same, white, empty, cold. The sun was a pale circle, giving no warmth. A distant, indifferent eye in the sky, offering no comfort, no hope. Soon it would be dark. Night in Siberia is long and deadly. A time when the cold intensifies, when the shadows lengthen, when the wolves come out to hunt. I had to be smart. Had to be strong. I had to find a way to survive, to outwit the cold, to outlast the night. This was survival. Raw, brutal, unforgiving survival. The trees looked like ghosts. Silent sentinels guarding the frozen wasteland, their branches reaching out like skeletal arms. I felt small, an insect in a giant white world, insignificant, vulnerable at the mercy of forces beyond my control. I had to survive. I had to fight. Not just for myself, but for my family, for the chance to see them again. I had to find the strength within me to overcome this challenge, to prove that I was more than just an insect in a giant white world. I walked for hours, each step a battle against the relentless snow. Legs aching with a deep, bone-chilling throb, my body numb from the unforgiving cold. I pressed on, desperately searching for any sign of shelter, any respite from this frozen hell. The wind howled like a banshee, whipping snow into my face, blurring the already indistinct horizon. Then, in the distance, a break in the monotonous white. I saw a dark shape on the snow, moving, not a rock, not a trick of the light. Something was out there with me. It was big, far bigger than I initially thought, a looming presence against the stark landscape. My heart pounded against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat in the silence of the snow. Deer? Could it be a deer, lost and wandering like myself? Wolf? Or perhaps a lone wolf, hunting for its next meal in this desolate expanse? No, the shape was too massive, too imposing. It was white, a ghostly figure against the snow, massive, an apex predator in its domain, moving with slow, deliberate steps, each footfall a testament to its immense power, a creature perfectly adapted to this harsh, unforgiving environment. A polar bear, here, in the middle of Siberia, hundreds of miles from where they were supposed to roam. My blood went cold, a chilling wave washing over me, paralyzing me with fear. This was the king of the north, the perfect hunter, a creature of immense strength and cunning. I was on its land, small, weak, and utterly alone, a trespasser in its frozen kingdom. The bear hadn't seen me yet, a small mercy in this desperate situation. But it was coming my way, its massive head held high, nose in the air, testing the wind. It could smell me, the scent of a frightened human carried on the frigid breeze. I was meat. I was food, a potential meal in this barren landscape. My mind screamed, "Run! Hide! Do anything to escape!" But there was nowhere to go, no trees to climb, no rocks to hide behind. The world was open, white, and unforgiving. I was an easy target, a dark speck against the pristine snow. Fear can freeze you, make you stupid, cloud your judgment, or it can make you sharp, hyper-aware, and focused. I had to think fast, make a plan, any plan. My life depended on it, hanging in the balance with every passing second. The bear was a mountain of muscle and fur, a walking tank of raw power. Its paws were the size of dinner plates, each claw a razor-sharp weapon. My knife was nothing against it, a mere toothpick against a force of nature. The hunter was here, in its element, ready to claim its prize. And I was the prey, caught in a deadly game of survival. The air grew thick, heavy with anticipation and dread. My heart thundered in my chest, a frantic drumbeat against the silence of the snow-covered landscape. Each pulse echoed the primal fear that gripped me, a stark reminder of the danger I faced. It was a physical manifestation of the mental battle raging within. I wanted to run, to flee from the looming threat, every instinct screaming at me to escape. But my mind, fighting against the rising panic, said no. Running was not the answer, not in this vast, unforgiving wilderness. It was a decision made in a split second, a battle between fear and reason. Running meant death. The bear would chase and win. It was a predator perfectly adapted to this environment, a master of the hunt. I couldn't outrun it, not in this deep snow, not with its superior strength and stamina. My only hope lay in strategy, in using my wits to survive. My only weapon was my brain. I had to stay calm, to suppress the fear and think clearly. Panic would be my undoing. I needed to analyze the situation, to find a weakness, an opportunity to turn the tables. It was a desperate gamble, but it was all I had. The bear moved slowly, patient, confident. It knew it was the apex predator here, the ruler of this frozen domain. There was no urgency in its movements, no need to rush. It had all the time in the world. It owned this land. Every inch of snow, every frozen tree belonged to it. I was an intruder, a trespasser in its kingdom, and it would not tolerate my presence. I needed to break the rules, do something unexpected, something the bear wouldn't anticipate. Conventional tactics wouldn't work. I had to think outside the box to find a way to disrupt its natural advantage. My backpack, what did I have? What could I use? Knife, a small piece of sharpened steel, a meager defense against such a powerful beast. Lighter, a spark of hope in the face of overwhelming odds, a potential weapon against the cold and the darkness. Food, a necessary sustenance, but also a dangerous attractant. The food's smell was dangerous, a beacon calling to the bear, a promise of an easy meal. The knife was a last resort, a desperate measure to be used only when all other options were exhausted. The lighter, fire, bears fear fire, a primal instinct passed down through generations. I needed a plan, not just hope. Hope was a luxury I couldn't afford. I needed a concrete strategy, a series of calculated moves that would give me a fighting chance. First, I had to hide, break the line of sight, disappear from the bear's view. If it couldn't see me, it couldn't hunt me. I scanned the landscape, searching for any advantage, any feature that could offer me cover. Trees, scattered and sparse, offering little real protection. Rocks, too small to conceal me completely, but perhaps enough to break up my silhouette. A small hill, a rise in the otherwise flat expanse of snow. The hill was my best chance, a potential shield against the bear's gaze, a temporary refuge from the immediate danger. If I could get behind it, maybe the bear would pass by, unaware of my presence. It was a long shot, but it was the only play I had. I moved slowly, crouched low, every muscle tense, each step measured and deliberate. The snow crunched beneath my boots, a sound that seemed deafening in the silence. The will to live is a fire inside you, a primal force that ignites in the face of death. In danger, it becomes a storm, a raging inferno that consumes fear and doubt, leaving only the burning desire to survive. I wanted to see my family again, to hold them close, to tell them I loved them, feel the sun, the warmth on my skin, the promise of a new day. Live, to experience the simple joys of life, to breathe, to feel, to be. That thought pushed me forward, fueled my determination, gave me the strength to keep going. I was a survivor. I would fight for every breath, for every moment, for the chance to see another day. I would not surrender. I reached the hill, heart pounding. The bear was closer. I could see its eyes. I moved around the hill, searching for cover. At the base, I found rocks, snow-covered, but behind them, a small opening, maybe a cave, my only chance. I crawled inside. It was dark, cold, cramped, but it was shelter. I sat in the darkness, trying to control my breathing. I listened to the wind, hoping the bear would pass by. Every sound made me jump. Fear was alive in that small space. I watched the slice of outside world, waiting for the bear to appear. I held my knife, hand shaking. It felt small, but it was something. I was not giving up. This was my fortress of ice. The silence broke. Crunch, crunch. Heavy feet on snow coming closer. I froze. The sound stopped outside my cave. I felt the bear's presence, just a thin wall away. My life hung by a thread. A low growl rumbled through the rock. The bear knew I was here. It sniffed at the entrance, loud and wet, hungry and curious. I tried to be invisible, but I was a living, breathing man. Suddenly, a shadow blocked the opening. A giant head appeared, black eyes searching. I pushed back as far as I could. The cave was tiny. The bear opened its mouth, long yellow teeth, hot breath. Then a paw came in, claws scraping rock. It was trying to dig me out. The paw swiped, inches from my face. I held my knife tight. My mind screamed. This was the end. The bear was tearing my sanctuary apart. I had to do something. I had to fight back. The bear's paw kept swiping, more aggressive, more desperate. I knew I couldn't stay. I had to scare it away. My lighter, fire, was my only hope. I fumbled for it, hands numb. Finally, I found it. I needed fuel. My extra scarf, wool, it would burn. I tore it off, hands shaking, and tried the lighter. Click, nothing. The lighter was too cold. I warmed it in my glove, heart pounding as the bear roared outside. I tried again. Click, a spark. Click, a small flame. The scarf smoldered, thick smoke filling the cave. I wrapped the burning scarf around a stick, my torch. It was small, smoky, but it was fire. It was hope. I was ready to face the beast. I took a deep breath, smoke burning my lungs. The bear was still there, growling, tearing at the entrance. I crawled forward, torch in one hand, knife in the other. I pushed the torch out. The flame flickered in the cold air. The bear recoiled, roaring, surprised by the fire. I waved the torch, screamed, made myself look big. The bear circled, watching, thinking. I screamed again, waving the torch wildly. The burning scarf was shrinking. My time was running out. The bear let out a final roar, looked at me, then at the fire. It turned and walked away, slow and powerful, disappearing into the snow. I was alone again, but this time, the silence was victory. I had survived. I stayed in the cave, shaking from adrenaline and exhaustion. My torch was gone, scarf burned away, but I was alive. Relief washed over me. I had survived the worst. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. I couldn't stay. The bear might return. I had to move. I ate a little food, then stepped out into the white world. Didn't feel as scary anymore. I had faced the worst and survived. I walked toward the setting sun, west where civilization might be. The snow was deep, my legs ached, but I kept going. As darkness fell, I saw a light in the distance, a small, yellow light. At first I thought it was a trick, but it was real, a window, a cabin. Hope surged through me. I walked faster toward safety. The walk to the light was the longest of my life. Every step was agony, but I focused on that yellow beacon. A small wooden cabin, smoke rising from the chimney. I stumbled to the door, barely able to knock. The door opened. An old hunter looked down at me. He saw my condition, said nothing, just helped me inside. The warmth was a miracle. He gave me tea, soup, a place by the fire. I was safe. I cried with relief. I told him my story. The snowmobile, the bear, the fear. He listened, nodded. He knew this land, its dangers. He told me I was lucky, brave. The fire had saved me. I felt proud. I would never forget Siberia. The cold, the silence, the wild. I learned I was stronger than I thought. The will to live is the most powerful force. I survived. And I would carry the echoes of the ice with me forever. Ready for more wild adventures? Join the Hitosaur channel and become part of our community of explorers. Subscribe now, smash that like, and ring the bell so you never miss a true story of courage and survival. More epic adventures and survival stories await. Drop your wild ideas in the comments and join the journey. This is Hitosaur channel, where every story is an adventure.